2021 is over, and honestly, it was a great year for anime since we had an exhaustive list of titles that made their debut in the anime scene, and even some other shows I personally had never heard of, which in my opinion left a very positive impression. Now, new year, new season, and a list full of interesting anime shows that I'm particularly curious about. And no, I'm not talking about the anime shows that even our grandparents are looking forward to, like the second season of Kimetsu no Yaiba or the second part of the final season of Attack on Titan. Is it really the last season though? God, I hope so. Or even the second season of Arifureta. Yeah, just kidding, okay? Well, actually, let me take that back. This show is not that bad, okay? Why? Well, because there's a lolly main character, that's why. And an edgy male main character too. On a serious note, briefly talking about these two main shows of the season, of course the second and final part of the final season of Attack on Titan will be starting next week, and I bet hardcore fans can't wait for it. I am personally not up to date with the anime since I've never went beyond the second season, so I have no idea how good it will be or how good it has been so far, but judging by the reviews, it has been doing pretty well. As for the second season of Demon Slayer, well, it is of no surprise. It is one of the most, if not the most anticipated sequel of the season, especially when we are blessed with god-tier animation and clean art style from Ufotable, as always. If you are a manga reader, you know what it's coming. The story will only get even better. If you are a manga reader, you know what it's coming, and of course, since we're already in the 5th episode as of recording of this video, I do presume that the second season will be a 24 episode format, being right now in the Red Light District arc. Yeah, if you are curious about what will happen next, you can also read the manga. There are around 200 chapters and the story is very good. Now, moving on to the main list itself. Now, some shows on this list do seem to be a bit boring, okay? Like this one, a guy that makes dolls and sews clothes. I mean, who cares? It is just another boring and tasteless show with a,
私に湖水晶作ってくれないかな。北川さん。いいからして。
Well, never mind, it looks interesting. Disregarding the lewd scenes that gives a bit of spice to the story, there seems to be a lot of comedy elements in this new romance slash slice of life anime show. Wakana Gojo is a recluse teenager spending most of his time making dolls and sewing clothes in order to become a doll artisan. In contrast, a trendy and cheerful teenager girl in his school becomes fond of his works, and the two of them become closer as time passes, ending on a lot of lewd scenes since Marin wants to cosplay and she needs to undress every time Gojo is making clothes for her. And apparently undressing is breathtaking. Joke aside, this anime looks to be yet again another wholesome story between two teenagers that have totally different personalities, and watching them click so well with each other as we witness their relationship develop. As any slice of life, there aren't any major events for this story. We should watch it for what it is and enjoy these moments of wholesomeness, especially if you are into cosplay or into Hinamatsuri, which is a religious day where festivals of big displays of platforms covered with ornamental dolls are prepared by townsfolk all over Japan. Not to mention, this anime is made by Cloverworks, and we all know the capabilities of the studio to deliver great production value, with amazing and consistent designs, with a great palette of colors, and this trailer is the perfect example of great design and animation, and I'll be sure to check it out. And so should you. Remember when this anime came out? Yeah, we are getting a sequel, but never mind that. This show, however, is what you should look up for. Why? Because the main character is not your typical good hero of justice that wants to save his kingdom. He doesn't give a damn about it and is willing to trade it for the right price. Arbalest Vine Salama is the ruler of a certain kingdom, though he's so tired of it that he's willing to betray the entire nation in exchange for a quiet life, far away from his responsibilities. To take this story to a new level, he's babysat by his advisor Raleigh Ninim, who needs to check on him all the time since there's a brat on the throne that is too immature to understand his own role. I mean, I think he does understand his own role, he just doesn't care about it, but anyways. Raleigh seems to be upright and rigorous about her role since she's the advisor, and Arbalest is an obvious character that needs to be domesticated, and with it, a lot of potential for a fun ride, okay? Not to mention the amount of chicks on this show surrounding this main character is quite unusual. Mal, I think there's a genre that is missing here. Let me correct it. There you go. The second season of Princess Connect is one of those shows that it is best enjoyed with a nice cup of tea, watching a group of friends continue their adventure with no particular purpose. It is to remember that this is an anime adaptation from a game, and despite the existence of plot, the interaction between Pecorine, which is the main character, and the other three main characters, which are her friends, is the main reason you should watch the show, as it is full of gags, gimmicks, but awesomeness above all. Even giving some vibes of the infamous Isekai Konosuba, as it could be seen almost as a satire show since there's a lot of comedy in it. So another show you should all check it out. The Strongest Sage of Disqualified Crest is one of those anime shows where you could replicate a badass moment of you beating the guy that had always been annoying you in middle school in front of everyone type of scenario. Why? Because there are kids with crazy powers in a school scenario, that's why. In a world of magic powers, where powers are determined through symbols called marks, a sage decides to reincarnate as a young boy called Matthias Ildeshammer. What the hell is wrong with these names? Where do they get them? Do they just slam the keyboard with their head and there you go, you got a name? Hildesheimer. Well, doesn't matter. Matthias is a 6-year-old boy and the son of a duke. He attains the mark of close combat as he always desired, since his previous life was one of magic abilities. Unfortunately, magic has become redundant in this era, and his mark is considered to be one of the worst. When Matthias becomes 12 years old, he ends up joining the Second Royal Academy, where his skills are put to the test as he quickly becomes one of the most talented swordsmen. In his journey, he uncovers signs of dark forces working in the shadows as he decides to put an end to the evil threat. Now this one is one of those where I sit back and enjoy watching the main character tearing scumbags to shreds and being the best through plot armor. Because this is what it is about, literally. One must ignore how shitty the plot may be, since reincarnation and two-dimensional characters are quite predominant these days. I enjoy the fights and the badass moments. Not to mention the amount of cringy moments we'll witness between an edgy main character and two female characters actually, that probably will fall in love with this dude, is something cringeworthy, isn't it? Why am I gonna even watch this? I don't know. I don't really know. With the trailers, it does remind me of the Misfit of Demon King Academy, by the way, which isn't bad per se. That anime was actually pretty decent since, there were some badass moments, okay? Where you could see the main character beating the bad guys with no effort and shaming them. It's one of those shows that you can simply enjoy for what it is and ignore the rest. If you want an anime filled with action scenes and sexy chicks, Sabuiki Bisco seems to be the right choice in this season. On a post-apocalyptic scenario in Japan, the cause of it all are some mushroom spores. Bisco Akaboshi, known as the man-eating mushroom, is a wanted criminal archer whose arrows instantly grow mushrooms wherever they land. However, he is in truth a mushroom protector, a person who spreads fungi in order to enrich the land and return it to its previous state. Now, the plot seems to be nothing special again, but the cool looking design of the characters and the music from the trailers, they do give some form of inspiration. The animation from the trailers is actually very well made, considering it is made by a studio called OZ, which seems to be a completely new one. I honestly was impressed, to be honest. Speaking of cringy, I swear to god there must be at least one of these per season, and I don't understand why it is so. A guy by the name of Sakimori Kagami plays a VR MMORPG, wow, of course he would. Plus he's a veteran player, and so he decides to spend expiring currency and change his appearance. Except that he does not realize that he became a female character and falls asleep in game. And of course, the game got more realistic as he goes on a full exploration about a certain huge update that was brought on this VR MMO game called Arch Earth Online. I mean, the amount of anime we have in the past about VR MMO are quite extensive, as you already know, and the fact that I've set my expectations so goddamn low, I got the urge to watch this show. Don't follow my advice, okay? This anime will not bring you any joy. It simply has been too long since I've seen one of these, okay? I could consider it a guilty pleasure, okay, but saying that makes no sense, since I hate these. I'm weird, okay? Anyways, speaking of anime that you shouldn't really expect anything from it, Futsal Boys is another anime show I'll be digging this season. And the reason why is dribbles and freestyle. Okay, I've always enjoyed football since I remember, and freestyling was always something I wish I could replicate back when I was young, because yes, I was into football. Back when I would watch great football players like Ronaldinho, the god of football, and also an incredibly gifted football player for its creative football tricks on the field. Of course, this is not a Hollywood Tsubasa rip-off anime type of thing, but looking back on how the anime show was nostalgic to me, and for many others, I think it is high time to jump back into one of those anime shows and enjoy the wacky rivalries between the characters and the respective teams. And, you know, judging by the trailers, I have to admit that the production value for this show seems to be promising, as the animation is top notch and the design is pretty consistent. As previously mentioned, I do not expect a complex story or characters with complex backgrounds, but I'm waiting for exciting football games and rivalries. Well, and that'll be it for today's video, guys. If you are a subscriber, I would like to apologize for not uploading anything recently. Life has been a bit rough on me, hence the absence all these months. I'm currently working on multiple videos, and I am currently a juror for the Reddit Anime Awards for this year. I've been busy as hell, but I do plan to slowly come back to upload more content. You can expect my next upload in 2 weeks' time, as I'm almost done with the next project. If you have been following me after all this time for being idle and not uploading anything, I really appreciate it for sticking around. I will come back for more, as I promised, but most importantly, don't forget to watch your daily dose of anime, because it's good for your brain and heart. Take care, and I'll see all my beloved weeps in the next video.